Hello and welcome to the Compass Alternative Certification Teacher Academy online information session. My name is David Palin. I'm a specialist at Compass, and I will be facilitating our session today along with my colleague Dominique McCain and Arturo de la Cruz. In today's session, we will spend the first 45 minutes explaining the Compass program overall and provide details regarding training, hiring, selection, timeline, costs, and requirements. We have reserved the last 15 minutes for any questions shared via chat that remain unanswered. Since we have multiple participants, questions submitted will be categorized and most commonly asked questions will be addressed. We will also provide our contact email later on, so you can send us any questions you have additional to that later on in the presentation. Please take a moment to review the agenda items. Each of these will be addressed in detail during this presentation. Since it is likely that most of you are new to education, we want to start by providing you with a few definitions that you will hear often throughout this process. The world of education is full of acronyms and abbreviations, and we know it can be a little overwhelming. We commit to not using acronyms we have not defined during this presentation, and hope that you will begin to familiarize yourself with the most commonly used terms as you encounter them through the process. Our helpful terminology includes SBEC. The State Board for Educator Certification is the entity that issues teaching certificates in Texas. Probationary certificate, issued by SBEC based on the recommendation of the certifying program, Compass. In most cases, it allows a teacher to teach for 1 year while completing all Texas requirements for full certification. Certified teacher, a teacher who has met all certification requirements in the state of Texas and is qualified by SBEC to teach their certification area. Certification area, the subject or subjects and grade level or grade levels that a teacher can teach based on their certification. For example, a generalist EC through 6 teacher can teach any subject or grade level from early childhood through grade 6. The ISD, the Dallas Independent School District.
Thank you, David. Good evening, everyone. We are so happy that you have chosen to learn more about our program, and we will now explain what Compass offers that makes us the best choice. At Compass, we will provide you with intensive teacher preparation. Our preparation is about helping you serve our students right here in Dallas. During a 5-week summer program, you will have an opportunity to observe actual classrooms, teach lessons, and participate in practice-based training sessions in Dallas schools. You will be assigned a coach who will support you throughout the program and will give you focused feedback for immediate and effective results. After this pre-service preparation, you will then participate in a year-long internship, leading your very own classroom in Dallas ISD. You will learn from Dallas ISD teachers, instructional coaches, and your very own Compass coach. Please keep in mind that nearly 90% of Dallas students come from economically disadvantaged homes. And of that 90%, 40% are still learning English. You have an opportunity to help these Dallas students break through these barriers and build a successful life. A little bit about Dallas. Dallas, Texas is a big, large culturally, that our district and our program have a focus on bilingual education. We want our students to learn from teachers who reflect the diversity of our community. Those who speak our students' languages and share their cultures bring tremendous value to Dallas ISD, which is why more than half of the teachers we train in the Compass program are bilingual. Compass provides bilingual teachers with training that is supported by the Bilingual and ESL Dual Languages Department of the district. And eventually, a teaching experience that is enriched with the joy that comes from serving their community in ways that others cannot. At Compass, we set high expectations and we help you meet them. We're actually looking for teachers in Dallas who have already set high expectations in other careers and are ready to now bring those high expectations and that level of skill to the classroom. We want you to have that same outlook of wanting to succeed and excelling the same way you do now in whatever career you may have. We know that teaching is not easy, so our program teaches you skills that will give you the confidence and the tools to be effective as soon as you enter the classroom. It's for those with courage, compassion, and a proven ability to prepare our students to be college and career ready. With Compass, you will build a rich career that you can be proud of. We want the opportunity to train you for a career marked by countless stories of students whose lives you've had the opportunity to change. Now we'll discuss the Teacher Academy in an overview. The Compass Teacher Academy includes two major components. Your initial training, which we call pre-service, will take place during the summer. We anticipate that you would start mid-June. This is what we refer to as pre-service training. Your first year in the classroom, which is the second component that we call the internship. This will be the time for you to refine your skills that you learned in pre-service training during the summer and to complete the certification requirements of the state. Now we'll talk about these two components in a bit more detail. The pre-service training includes 5 weeks of intensive professional development during the summer of 2016. The district has not yet announced summer school dates, but we anticipate, as I mentioned earlier, that you will need to be available full-time starting around mid-June. Our dates are driven by the district summer school calendar because Compass training actually takes place in the classroom. You will have field experiences, teaching summer school, planning lessons, and building skills. Simultaneously, you'll receive feedback from expert coaches on your lesson planning and delivery. And our coaches will be in your classroom, observing you and helping you refine your skills daily. During those 5 weeks, you will master many techniques from a resource we use called Teach Like a Champion. It is a book by Doug Lamov, and it helps build your knowledge about techniques that have been proven to be successful in the classroom. While you're using and practicing those techniques, we will, as a program, also help build your knowledge about state and district requirements, such as how to best serve English language learners or special education students. So the training is comprehensive. Following your pre-service training, Dallas ISD hosts several annual new teacher events. Hiring events are a part of the process, as well as New Teacher Academy, in which Dallas ISD welcomes and onboards all teachers new to the district.
Let us now look at the overview of the internship year. Your internship has 2 major components designed to support your growth as a first-year teacher. Live coaching model. You will be assigned a Compass Effective Coordinator or Field Supervisor who will serve as your first line of support. Your coach will be in your classroom often, and together we'll analyze student data in the field, work to implement in-lesson strategies, and prioritize your highest need areas of growth. Your live coaching cycle will include observation and diagnosis, setting measurable goals, practice classroom techniques, and follow-up observation and active feedback sessions. The second major component of your internship includes the following monthly professional development sessions. Compass monthly professional development includes skill building sessions focused on the new intermediate Teach Like a Champion techniques and skills. They will be introduced, reviewed, and practiced often. Target content training. You will receive content-specific training. These are the trainings that directly support the subject areas you will teach and focus on both instructional and curricular strategies and resources. Region 10 training requirements. Dallas Independent School District is part of the Region 10, which is one of the state's education service centers. This center provides a variety of training and professional development sessions for many teachers. During your internship, you will be assigned trainings to help you meet your certification requirements. Please take a look at the following slide. Let's begin by going over the campus selection process. After you have submitted your application and completed all the required tests based on the certification you're applying to, our team will review your submission and make sure you meet the eligibility criteria. Applications will also be scored based on your short answer responses. Applicants who pass the initial screening process will be invited to a phone interview before we extend offers of admission. Selected applicants will be invited to pre-service training and will have an opportunity to demonstrate mastery of the skills they will learn before campus recommends them for a probationary certificate. And I will talk more about this on the next slide. It is important to note that when you apply to campus, you are applying to become an alternative certified teacher with Dallas ISD. But your admission into the program does not mean you have a guaranteed position with the district or that you will receive your probationary certificate simply by attending the pre-service training. We have very high expectations of our teachers, and everyone who completes the summer pre-service must demonstrate that they have the knowledge, the skills, and the mindsets to teach our students. For that reason, the pre-service training is a 5-week audition period during which you will showcase your strengths and we will support you in that process. You will have multiple opportunities to demonstrate your growth through classroom observations, high engagement during trainings, and by showcasing the essential traits. Let us look at the essential traits in our candidate profile. Here's high expectations again. You believe that you can become an excellent teacher and lead high-need students to high levels of academic achievement, including those students with disabilities and that are below grade level. Application of feedback and growth mindset. You seek and incorporate feedback to rapidly improve. You thrive on challenges and are not uncomfortable with your existing abilities. Critical thinking. You make sound judgments and generate multiple solutions to challenges. Professionalism. You are reliable in meeting commitments and deadlines, complying with program and district policies, showing professional oral and written communication skills, and interacting professionally with others. District hiring for campus interns has undergone some changes from previous seasons. And in an effort to increase the selectivity and quality of our campus graduating classes, campus interns must first demonstrate their ability to lead from the classroom. Hiring decisions into the district are contingent upon successful completion of pre-service training. Campus staff will review your performance over the 5-week pre-service training before making recommendations to SBEC to issue a probationary certificate. School principal interviews may take place during or after pre-service. and you will interview your positions with candidates from other alternative certification programs. Principals make the final hiring decisions at their campus. And while these four steps may not be in order, all four must take place before a campus intern can start teaching in the fall of 2016.
Thank you, Arturo. Now let's talk about what certification areas Compass offers. Compass offers certification in some very specific areas that have been identified as critical need or difficulty staffed by the Dallas ISD. Please note that certification is not available in any other areas. The list of certification areas is visible on the screen. Please review them now. Because not everyone applying may be in the same situation that you are, costs and requirements will differ between candidates. On the screen is an overview of the most common costs and requirements that you should expect. The chart to your left shows the total cost of Compass training, which is $3,600. You should expect to pay $600 of this upon acceptance into the program. The additional $600 of pre-assignment costs will be collected prior to your completion of pre-assignment training or pre-service training. The bottom of the chart shows you additional certification costs, which vary depending on whether or not you are pursuing a bilingual or a regular certification, or if you need to take additional tests to demonstrate your English proficiency. Our Compass website has a detailed breakdown of these costs for you. They range from $440 to $860. Because these costs cover state mandated requirements, you will have these costs and face them regardless of the certification program you choose. So the $3,600 total Compass cost does not include the cost listed here that ranges from $440 to $860, because that is specific to testing and some of the state requirements. On the right side of the slide, other pre-service requirements include a bachelor's degree with at least a 2.75 average GPA. May graduates are accepted with a letter of intent from their college or university. And your bachelor's degree must be from a regionally accredited college or university. The Texas content exam is required for all certification areas. You are required to demonstrate competency by passing your Texas content exam. The TOEFL IBT test is specific for applicants who hold an undergraduate degree from institutions outside of the U.S. or institutions that are not stateside of the United States, including Puerto Rico. We do have scholarships through third-party partners, and at this time, there are no requirements for you. The requirements for scholarship eligibility are communicated once you're actually accepted into the program. And so there are no action steps, but we do want to let you know that scholarships are available. And in previous years, roughly half of our cohort have received a scholarship that covered the total cost of the Compass training program. Now that we've gone over all the steps in the process, I want to review this roadmap, which illustrates what the full process might look like for a prospective applicant who is selected to join our program and who successfully completes both pre-service training and their Compass internship. Please follow along as I address each step. Our application is now open, and we encourage everyone to apply as soon as possible. We are quickly approaching our third application deadline, which is March 27th. And all applicants should also submit test results before being admitted into the program. One of the things we like to share with you all is that as we get deeper into the spring semester, testing locations tend to fill up and the opportunity to take the test becomes more difficult. So we would like you to prioritize taking the content exam for the certification area that you'd like to pursue. You can submit your application before you have your test results, but you want to make sure that you are putting that test passage at the forefront or in the priority list in terms of being onboarded to Compass, because without a passing test score, you cannot be accepted into the program. Applicants who pass that initial screening will be invited to a phone interview. We do have some applicants in these phone interviews, and the pre-screening is done on a rolling basis. We are currently contacting people now for phone interviews who've submitted their applications previously. Once those phone interviews are completed and scored, then offers will be extended in the spring for selected applicants. This step will move you as an applicant from applicant to actual Compass candidate. Once you have accepted our formal offer and returned any documentation that's required, then candidates would then attend the 5 weeks of intensive pre-service training, as we mentioned previously, during the summer. And this will require your full-time availability. So there is a compensation for candidates during this training period. Candidates who successfully complete the pre-service training and demonstrate proficient performance, they pass the performance screen and they score in the eligible areas to then be recommended for a probationary certificate. This probationary certificate now identifies you as a highly qualified teacher candidate. And with that probationary certificate, you are eligible for hire to a Dallas ISD campus. As we mentioned, the principal of the campus may want to interview you. Your name and contact information will be shared with principals who are looking to hire teachers for their campus. And you should note that principals will want to interview you before extending an offer to work on their campus. So they will be interviewing candidates from Compass as well as other teacher candidates for these positions. Once you're recommended for hire to a campus, you will begin your internship year as the teacher of record. This one-year internship includes ongoing professional development, live coaching and support, as well as leading instruction in your very own classroom. During that year, Compass will support you to ensure you meet all of the state and district requirements for certification, including any additional exams that are required. And near the end of your internship year, your performance will be reviewed by a certification committee, and successful candidates will be recommended and will earn a Texas Standard Teaching Certificate. I hope this overview gives you a better idea of what earning your teaching certificate through Compass might look like.
All right, now we are here at next steps. As Dominique said, our final application deadline is March 27th. Submitting your application early will allow you to hear if you are admitted to the program much sooner. We encourage you to submit your application now. If you are not ready to apply yet, you should still register for your Texas certification exam. If your degree is from outside of the United States, you should still register for the TOEFL IBT test. Now, for the TOEFL, if you have a bachelor's degree from outside the U.S., you can submit an official letter from your university stating that the majority of your classes were given in English to be exempt from taking the TOEFL. We will need you to upload this to your AppleTrack account and email this to the alternative certification email, which we will give you.
So with regard to the letter, just to clarify, the university or college must send an official letter on university or college letterhead to the Compass program. If you have any questions regarding the official letter, we can give you the information and the address to which that letter should be mailed. As a program, we must receive the letter from the university or the college. You, as the applicant, are allowed to submit a copy of that letter if the university provides you with one, but we must receive the official letter from the university, not the applicant, to our offices here at Compass for the letter to be considered official. It must be in a sealed envelope that identifies the university and college's official seal, as well as be on college or university letterhead.
You will be asked to submit your test scores before we can make selection decisions, and it can take several days or weeks to register for, take the test, and get the scores back. It's very important. So now we want to open it up for questions and answers. As we spoke before, Please add all of your questions via chat, and we will categorize them and answer them in order from where we got them. My team has helped categorize them, and we will start answering them now. The first question: I am currently teaching at the U.S. Virgin Islands as a special education teacher holding J1 exchange visa. I'm interested in joining your team. Can the Compass team help me in changing my J1 visa into a H1B visa?
The immediate answer for that is, unfortunately, the deadline, the first application deadline is the deadline that we reserved for anyone who would need H-1B visa sponsorship. So if you have questions beyond just that immediate answer, then you can contact us and we will share our contact information. We are right now looking to identify if there is a faster route, if you will, to transfer those persons who have a J1 exchange visa to an H-1B visa. With the research that I've done so far, there is no quote unquote shortcut. And due to the timeline of onboarding someone who needs H-1B visa sponsorship, this deadline is too late to have you join us for the summer. So we chose our first deadline in January as the application deadline for anyone who needed H-1B visa sponsorship. Thank you so much for your question.
Thank you. Next question. I have the following question. To apply to the Compass program, I must previously have a social security number. Without this, can I not apply? This is a good question. Unfortunately, now, due to just going back and forth with the Social Security office, we cannot allow someone who does not have a Social Security number into our program. We are still working very hard to fix this issue, but as of right now, you will need a Social Security number to join our program and be able to take all of the tests.
And just as I mentioned before, the timeline for H-1B visa sponsorship is so much longer than anyone who does not require sponsorship that we reserve our first deadline for anyone who was interested or needed H-1B visa sponsorship. So two concerns there. The Social Security number issue is something that we are working through, and we've gotten some support from the state of Texas to assist us with that. However, that timeline still presents an issue with being able to join us in the summer of this year, 2016.
Thank you for that question. The next question. So if the deadline is March 27th, but I will not have all the required documents as a foreigner, can I still send my application and complete it later? This is another great question. Yes, if you don't have all of your testing done, you can still go through your application and submit it. All that's required from that is your transcripts, your resume, your references. Those are things that you can always upload, but we recommend submitting your application as filled out until you can get all those other documents and testing done.
With regard to your transcripts, if you do require foreign evaluation, there is information on our website that identifies the approved vendors for foreign evaluation. These are the companies that we've worked with previously, and they know exactly how the complete evaluation needs to be done, because you must have a complete foreign evaluation submitted, both to join Compass as well as to be employed in Dallas ISD.
Thank you for that question. Next question. I have a master's degree, which is above the 2.75 GPA requirement, but not my undergraduate GPA. Is a master's degree GPA taken into consideration?
Unfortunately, the way that the Texas Administrative Code is written, the bachelor's degree is, or the baccalaureate degree is the degree that is used for admission. The philosophy behind that is, it is the minimum requirement. You are not able to join an alternative certification program or be a teacher if you don't have at least a bachelor's degree. Since alternative certification was implemented as an alternative route to traditional educator certification, The only thing that balances or levels the playing field with regard to admission is having that bachelor's degree. Unfortunately, the state of Texas only recognizes the bachelor's degree for the GPA requirement. There are some incentives if you meet the bachelor's degree requirement. There are some incentives with the district regarding higher degrees that have been earned. However, when we calculate and record admission GPA for the state, it must be based on the bachelor's degree. It is not a composite or cumulative GPA from all degrees earned. It must specifically come from the bachelor's degree. And so that 2.75 GPA requirement is based solely on the bachelor's degree. Thank you for that question.
Thank you. For certification in science, it says composite in certain specific areas. What specific areas are currently offered for science?
That is a great question. Our website does provide a testing guide that lists out for you all of the different tests that are approved as far as certification requirements. Just to give you a few examples, chemistry, biology, life science, physical science, physics, all of those would be examples of specific areas for science. Math also has some specific areas such as calculus, trigonometry, geometry, etc. These specific areas are specifically for secondary or high school teacher certification. And the composite areas include ranges of grades, for example, 4 through 8, 7 through 12, because those certification areas and those exams assess for competency across multiple disciplines in science and multiple disciplines in math. If you think about it from the perspective of your higher ability as a teacher, a composite certification makes you qualified or certified, if you will, to teach different grade levels, different secondary, middle school, etc. Whereas those specific ones, you have to be specifically positioned for that certification area. Thank you for that question.
That was a great question. Thank you. The next question. I've attended a foreign studies program where I took 12 hours that went towards my degree here in Dallas. Well, I need to provide transcripts from both the local and foreign schools. The answer to that is yes. We want to make sure that we have documentation of all of your schooling. So if you can please provide that and upload that to your AppleTrack account so we can have that full record.
Since the foreign studies program did not end with a degree specifically, you would not need to have that evaluated, but we would like you to upload it along with other transcripts. The state of Texas does require us to document the number of credit hours that you have that are aligned with the certification area that you seek. And so we ask if you've done any work or gotten any credits at a community college, if you then received your bachelor's degree and also have master's credits, we ask that you submit all of the transcripts that have led to your degrees. That way we can actually document them on the report that we send to the state, because they do ask us to document how many credit hours of instruction you had that align with your certification area. So thank you so much. That was a great question.
Our next question. I already filled out my application on AppleTrack by January deadline, but so far I have not received news about it. I am an out-of-country applicant with a valid social security number. Can you help me know when I am receiving the news?
Thank you so much for that question. We're so eager to answer your questions. Thank you so much. We have had a short delay in notifications from the January deadline. However, we have quickly fixed that. We've solved that problem. Thank you. Excuse me. And you should be hearing from us within the week, actually. Just to be totally transparent, we have a group of pre-screeners who are working with us to to actually go in and evaluate applications. And unfortunately, they were evaluating them in alpha order and not the order that they had been received. And so we've corrected that for them, and we've given them a list based on the date of submission of the application. And so now they are reviewing them based on the dates of submission. So you should hear something within the week. And thank you so much for being patient with us. We did not intend for there to be such a delay between our communications. But as you all know, Compass is a relatively new program. And so we're making changes every day, making sure that we can adjust and do what is best for all parties involved. So thank you so much for that feedback. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Next question. The GPA requirement that I am hearing today regarding the exclusion of master's degree GPA is different than that I heard on Compass in previous session given in February. Thank you for this statement. I do want to also point you to our website. Our website has this information as well, and it does say that it is the bachelor's degree that we are taking. I apologize for any, I guess, misinformation that you may have received, but we definitely have been communicating for quite some time that the GPA requirement we are going by is the bachelor's degree for that 2.75.
And let me be very transparent on this. It is not our decision. We don't get to make that decision. There are specific decisions that as an educator preparation program, we have the right to make. And the GPA requirement or the minimal GPA requirement is something that we have the right to control as a program. However, we do not get to decide if that GPA gets to come from a cumulative of multiple degrees. The state requires that it is determined based on the bachelor's degree. So as David mentioned, we apologize that you've gotten any information miscommunicated or it was given to you wrong, but it is very clear from the state's perspective that we must base the GPA minimum on the bachelor's degree.
Thank you for that. Okay, our next question. Please elaborate on the Texas test. How would I know which test to take? If I am interested in more than one certification area, what is the best advice? In the past, Dallas ISD used to make recommendations based on the applicant's degree. This is a wonderful question. We're so glad that you asked this. Let's start.
Sure. What we do is we are asking that you are very intentional and very conscientious about the certification area you choose based on the coursework and or degree program that you've completed. The philosophy behind alternative certification and the testing specifically is you are being asked to demonstrate competency in whatever subject matter that you intend to teach. And so the bottom line is if you know it and can pass a test, then that means you've proven your competency to teach it to the students of Dallas ISD. One of the things that I often stress to any applicant, any candidate, is that yes, we could tell you the certification area that you are best suited for, but you know better than we do. And that exam that you choose to take is what proves your competency. So for those people who are interested in particularly secondary math or science, I often say to them, think about the instruction that you've received in your degree plan. If you've only taken entry level or introductory level courses in math and science, it may be difficult for you to then be able to pass an exam that assesses higher level math and science to then prove that you're ready to teach high school math and or science. So there are programs that tell you which certification area is best suited for you, and they base that simply on the transcripts from your degree plan. So you can review your transcript and identify which certification area best fits you, and then decide which exam you would take to support that particular certification area. We have discussed with our selection partners about potentially adding that next year in the process if we receive data that it makes it easier for applicants. But we see it as one more step in the process when we know that this is a time-sensitive process. We want to make sure that your applications can be submitted and you can have autonomy over decisions regarding your certification that you then have to be able to fulfill the requirements for. So thank you so much for that question. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So we're getting a few questions about the J1. The question that we have is a little bit specific to an individual circumstance. So I'm going to ask, if you don't mind, the gentleman who's posing the question about the J1, if you will email us at the address that we're going to send in a few minutes, we can answer your question more specifically. I'm also seeing some questions around specific areas listed by the state, or all the specific areas listed by the state work for the Compass program. Here is my general answer for that. As I stated during the presentation, it is Compass's goal to be a talent solution for Dallas ISD. And so there are areas that are science and or math specific where there may not be any vacancies in the district for those courses. And so one of the things that I encourage you to do is think about the fact that we onboard and choose candidates who can fill open and available positions in Dallas ISD. And so the list that we've given includes the science and math composite and then some secondary areas. If you would like to email us a specific area to find out if there are positions available or if that is a critical need area, then I'm going to ask that you email us at our email address with that question later. It is a great question, but we want to make sure that we are transparent about the fact that you must be able to secure a position in Dallas ISD to complete the certification requirements. And so if those positions are not available, we don't want to bring people into the program who can't complete their certification because those vacancies are not here. So thank you for that question.
Thank you. The next question, and this is a good question as well. If the Texas content area has not yet been passed before the deadline, what are the chances of making it into the alternative certification program? This is a great question, and we actually get this question a lot. And you have to think about your personal situation. If you feel that you're reaching that March 27th deadline, you can still submit your application and prepare for your test. We have an additional deadline for the test to be completed. But if for some reason you do not reach that deadline, we have a 2017 cohort for you. It is not an end-all be-all. We can have your application with us. So when you finish taking that test, you can go ahead and move forward with us. We don't want to rush you because there is a 5 testing limit on those content tests. So we don't want you to fail or not be prepared, rushing too much. But we do want to communicate that we do have deadlines for this cohort.
The only thing I would say is once you actually submit your application, then we do communicate a testing deadline to you. These things should be happening in tandem. You should be completing your application, studying for your exam, looking for a testing center. All of these things should be happening in tandem so that you are rightfully positioned to be able to join the Compass program if chosen. I know that people often want to know, well, should I take the test before I know that I'm in the program? The reality is if you are seeking alternative certification in the state of Texas, many programs are moving to the model where you must pass the exam prior to joining the program. So it wouldn't be a waste of your time and or money to take the exam before you know if you're accepted. Those exam results don't have an expiration date as long as the test is still viable as far as the state is concerned. So as David mentioned, if March 27th is too soon, you don't feel like you're going to have enough time to study or prepare, we do intend to have a summer 2017 cohort and a summer 2018 cohort and on and on and on. And so if you pass that exam, those test results would be able to be used for the next application season as well.
Thank you for that question. Next question, do you consider bachelor's level classes in the GPA average if these classes were taken after receiving the undergraduate degree? I have already passed the 4 through 8 math test, not sure if that matters.
So this is a very specific question, and without divulging any of your personal information, I'm going to ask that you email us specifically and give us some more information around your GPA. The reality is we increased our GPA to 2.75 because it identified for us and the data that we collected that candidates were best suited to go into the classroom and be successful with that GPA increase. There are other programs that have a lower GPA requirement, and we are very transparent about that. We don't want to lose anyone. We want everybody who is qualified to come to Compass, but we are standing firm on our GPA requirement. To answer the question about courses received after, as I said, that's kind of specific, so I would have to look at the individual situation and also be able to do a little bit of research. The bachelor's degree GPA, whatever is that final GPA, is what is used for the admission requirement. Those other courses, we do use those to specifically identify what coursework you've completed. But to be clear, that 2.75 GPA is one of our eligibility requirements. And so without that bachelor's degree of 2.75, you would not be considered eligible for the program.
Thank you for that question. Our next question is, are all candidates who pass the pre-service portion of their certification guaranteed an internship? And he actually has 2 portions, so we're going to address that first. This is a great question, and to answer it, no, it does not. If we go back to the Teacher Academy, once it is an audition period. So this was put into place. This was put into place so that we can see if you demonstrate those essential traits, so that you can be inside the internship. So this is not an audition, a guaranteed portion, that 5-week intensive training.
So just to clarify just a bit, if in fact someone passes pre-service training, which is the question, all candidates who pass the pre-service training, are they guaranteed an internship? The answer is no, for the reasons that David mentioned, but also because you must secure a position in Dallas ISD in order to fulfill that internship requirement. And so the next question says, do interns have any choice in school placement? Interns have all the choice in school placement. The hiring process for Dallas ISD involves interviewing with principals, and principals make the final hiring decisions. So a candidate who completes pre-service training and successfully does so with all of their performance aligned with our expectations, we recommend them for that probationary certificate. That probationary certificate makes them eligible for hire as a classroom teacher or teacher of record. What that does is it then allows principals to start interviewing them. And to be, again, totally transparent, we have had people who have not interviewed well and were not able to secure a position. If you cannot secure a position with a campus, then you cannot officially start an internship. And so I just want to make sure that that's clear. Securing the position in that classroom is incumbent upon the candidate. And once that position is secured, then Compass supports you through that internship year.
Thank you for that question. The next question is, what is the difference between the alternative certification program of Dallas ISD and the Region 10 alternative certification program?
Well, we are not positioned to answer any questions about the Region 10 alternative certification program. There are multiple alternative certification programs in the state of Texas. We can tell you that Compass is the best from our perspective because we do offer a high level of support. We offer extremely focused training, And it is our goal to make you successful as a classroom teacher from the very first day that you enter the classroom. So other than we believe we're the best because we position ourselves to be, we can't answer any questions about Region 10 or any other alternative certification program. Thank you for that question.
Next question. I am currently employed full-time. If I am accepted in the Compass program, I will quit my current job. Once pre-service starts, will I become employed by DISD and paid as an employee?
So this is a fabulous question. In order to join the Compass program, you are actually onboarded as an employee of Dallas ISD. However, your pay is a salary advance of the salary you will receive as a classroom teacher. So these are the situations or the circumstances that could happen. If you come into pre-service training with Compass, you are onboarded with a background check, fingerprinting, and all the things that are necessary to be an employee in Dallas ISD. If you are successful in your pre-service training, everything goes according to that roadmap that we shared in the presentation, then you will become a teacher of record in the fall semester of 2016 and begin to receive full teacher pay. During the 5 weeks of training, you do not receive full teacher pay. You are compensated a portion of the salary that you would receive as a teacher. And the reason we do that is because we know everyone will not successfully complete pre-service training. And so we don't want to give people the impression that you're going to get paid at the same rate that a teacher is paid during the summer, because that is not the case. You are paid and compensated a portion, a relatively small portion of the $50,000 salary that a teacher receives. You cannot be paid as a teacher until you are officially on that probationary certificate and hired on a campus in Dallas ISD. I hope I've answered that question. Thank you so much.
Very good.
We do, and the reason we do, which many of our competitors do not compensate during the period of training, we compensate during that period because we do want your full-time commitment. So thank you for that question.
Next question. If I am an out-of-country candidate, but my coursework was taught 100% in English, do I still need to take a TOEFL? This is a great question. No, you do not. You will be one of those applicants or candidates that send us the letter, official letter from your university. So you need your university to send that letter to us, and you will need to upload that to your application. So no, you are one of those candidates that do not have to take the TOEFL.
Thank you so much for that question. You are perfectly positioned to not have to take the TOEFL IBT exam. The letter from the university to the Compass program would suffice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So the next question is about the Texas website discontinuing the bilingual generalist EC through 6. Yes, they have discontinued the exam. The exam has a new name, and that name is the Core Subjects EC through 6 exam. However, if you notice on our in our presentation, we identified that as a certification area. So the certification area is still bilingual generalist certification, but the exam, the name has been changed to the Core Subjects EC through 6 exam. We give more information on our website. If you would take the opportunity to look over our website, it clarifies that for you. But that is a great question. I could see that being a bit confusing. The certification area is still bilingual generalist. The content exam for that certification area is no longer a one-to-one match in terms of the name, but the exam is the Core Subjects EC through 6 exam.
And just to go further, if you were going for that certification, you would take that core subjects to get accepted. Once in the program, you would take the bilingual supplemental exam.
And the BTLPT.
Right. So that's how you would get certified in that particular certification area. But you would take that core subjects exam as our content to get into the program. Thank you.
Great question.
Okay. Next question.
Okay, so the question is about how is the GPA calculated? If a person has done any JUCO or community college work. When we receive the transcripts from the conferred bachelor's degree, that transcript in most cases includes those those courses that were taken and accepted as part of the degree plan. And so those courses are already included in the GPA calculation of the bachelor's degree GPA. So it really, simply put, if you've done your prerequisites at a community college or junior college, those prerequisite grades are then calculated within the GPA of the bachelor's degree if those courses are used to issue that bachelor's degree. So if those credits were transferred, then those credits are a part of the GPA.
Thank you for that question.
What was the question saying?
This question says, I know teaching generally has a low retention rate. How does retention of Compass program graduates in the profession compare?
A couple of data points that we have there. We have had partners in the past that are scholarship providers, and those scholarship providers do collect data on retention for us. Our retention rates for Dallas AC previously and now Compass are relatively high, primarily because we do support you through the entire first year. Also, as a district, Dallas ISD has a focus on first year and novice teachers. And so there is a lot of support that is provided. You're absolutely right. There is a low retention rate in general when we talk about teachers. However, we don't see any greater lack of retention than any other school district and or program, because we have had partners who provided 2 and 3 year scholarships or who collected retention data. We've actually had the opportunity to retain quite a few. Just to give you a little bit of history, prior to being Compass, this program was known as Dallas AC, and we have people in this district who work at the executive level, area superintendents who previously have come through this very same alternative certification program, and they are still with Dallas ISD. I've met people with 40 years of tenure. I've met people with 20 years of tenure. Arturo, my colleague who is here speaking with us through this presentation, was actually a product of the alternative certification program here in Dallas ISD, as well as many of our other colleagues. And so if that gives you any information about people who get alternatively certified in Dallas, staying in Dallas, I feel as though we have a very good track record regarding that level of retention. So thank you so much.
Could I add something regarding that? Is as a coordinator being out there in the field, one of the things that I hear from teachers is the level of frustration because teaching is not for everyone, and it is our job and our duty to not only assist, support, coach, train, but also support in those other issues that teachers may be experiencing other than the pedagogy or the academics. And so I think the coordinators all feel the same way. We have coordinators who were former principals, assistant principals, academic coordinators. And so we understand that, and I think Compass is proud to have those people on staff to give that support. That's a great question.
Great question. Thank you so much for allowing us to brag a little bit.
The next question is another good one. After a full year of internship, what will happen next? Is there a final exam that needs to be taken? This is a great question. So at the end of your internship, you will come before the certification committee, and they will gauge all of your progress up to that point. Your coordinator would have submitted an assessment. Your principal would have submitted 2 assessments, and the certification committee will review all of that, including your training hours that you have gone up to that point. Of course, your testing to make sure you pass all of your tests, and I believe
your performance. So there is, with regard to Compass as a program, there is no final exam. There is a review of your certification by a committee. However, at the state level, there are multiple exams that have to be passed. And so the one that we focus on at this point, because we're in the application portion of the program, is we focus on that content exam because it's required to actually be admitted. However, there are other exams that each certification area must pass for the state requirements to be met. The most common across all certification areas is what we refer to as the PPR exam, which is the Pedagogy and Professional Responsibilities exam. And that exam assesses your ability to make decisions as an educator. What are your profession? Do you understand your professional responsibilities? Do you understand the pedagogy of instruction and curriculum? And so that is an exam that is required. However, the encouraging part is Compass is an on-the-job training program. And so every day that you're in that classroom during your internship, you are learning those professional responsibilities. You are learning what is appropriate in terms of pedagogy with your students. And so the program positions you to pass that assessment with flying colors. We currently have a 98% pass rate for first-time PPR results. So we are confident that this program will prepare you to take any of the other exams that are required for your certification.
Thank you for that question. Have another good question. How likely is it that a candidate will successfully complete the pre-service training and be recommended for probationary certificate, but then not receive a position within Dallas ISD for the internship year? Also, what would happen in that circumstance? We kind of went over this earlier, but this is really a question that all depends on your passion and how dedicated you are going to be to learning those skills. So it really boils down to, have you absorbed all that you could during that process? Now, unfortunately, if you do not get selected, you will not receive the probationary certificate and you will not go on to that internship year. But you are still able to go to any other program if you would like to try to become a teacher. You also have the ability of becoming a sub. So you have many options, but this is a question that really goes down to the individual as opposed to success rate of the Compass program.
One other thing I'd like to say is that as a district, our human capital management department, as well as the district Dallas ISD, is focused on talent matching. And so one of the things that we encourage candidates is, once you have successfully completed your pre-service training through Compass, you want to find a campus that suits your needs and you suit the needs of the campus. And so we've had several candidates. Remember, we've been through multiple entities of this. We've gone through this before. Our most recent cohort, we had a young lady who's interested in traditional Mexican dance, and she was able to find a campus where there is an after-school program where they do traditional Mexican dance. She and the principal agreed that that particular campus was the right place for her. And so she had interviewed with multiple principals, and when it was all said and done, the decision was hers to decide which campus best suits her. This question is important from a high level perspective, because this explains why we do not offer certification in every possible certification area that the state has given us approval to certify in. We don't want you to finish pre-service training and not be able to find a position to start your internship. And so we focus specifically on those critical need areas, because we know and have been given data from our staffing and talent departments that these areas have vacancies frequently and throughout the school year. There are many people out there who want a plethora of certification areas. Compass doesn't offer those because we don't want you in a situation where you cannot find a position to then start your internship. And so thank you so much for that question. I think you have helped us to quantify for everyone who's attending why we've shortened our list of certification areas, because it is to benefit the candidates in completing that standard certification.
Next question. My country does not use the GPA system. Will I get my GPA when I apply for my transcripts? And should I apply for my transcripts directly to my university? This, this is a great question. Since it is not from the United States, you would have to get them evaluated. And once you get them evaluated, they would translate it to an equivalent GPA for us to be able to determine if you meet that, if you meet the 2.75.
Thank you for this question. Again, as I mentioned previously, you can go to our website to find the approved foreign evaluation vendors. There is a cost to have your transcripts evaluated by this third-party vendor. So please take the time to go to our website, identify who are the third-party foreign evaluators. And again, you need a complete foreign evaluation. And that complete evaluation includes identifying not only what courses your transcript matches, but also it does provide that GPA for systems that aren't based on a GPA system in foreign countries. So thank you for that question.
Thank you, Dominique. Since we're asking several of you to go to our website, I'm going to take the opportunity now to give you the website and other means of social media you can contact us. Our website is www.dallasisd.org/compass. That is one. The other is alternative certification at dallasisd.org. And if you're a Twitter user, you can find us at the ISD Compass. If you like us at Facebook, it's Compass Alternative Certification Teacher Academy. Thank you.
Thank you, Arturo, for sharing those ways that we can be contacted. The website, guys, is very intentionally set up to give you as much information as we possibly can. Please take the opportunity to visit our website so that you can get some of these more specific questions answered directly. Our email address, as Arturo mentioned, is listed there on the screen. If you have some of those specific questions and you have questions that are specific to your individual situation, we will be more than happy to respond to your emails. There is about a 48-hour turnaround because that email box, as you can imagine, fills up very quickly. But we do have a team of people who respond to those emails. So please reach out to us as you see fit. Thank you for those of you who are telling us thank you. We do appreciate it. We can see that in the chat, and we really do appreciate it. I see a couple of questions about TOEFL. One of them says TOEFL has 4 sections: reading, listening, speaking, and writing. Is there a minimum score required for each section? We specifically focus on the oral portion, which is the speaking portion, and the cutoff score for the speaking portion for our program is a 26. The 26 is the cutoff score that has been determined to identify English proficiency, and the state accepts that 26 on the speaking portion only. So thank you so much for that question. Okay, so there's someone who's posed the question. I have an out-of-country certification from TEA that expires in a year. How is that different from the probationary certificate that you guys are talking about? It is not different. Thank you for that question. It is not different, with this exception. People who choose to do the out-of-country route, when they've been evaluated by TEA to identify what certification area best fits them, they're given that 1-year probationary certificate, and they're required to pass their exams in a year. The only difference between that out-of-state or out-of-country route and the alternative route is that when you choose to go through alternative certification, you are assigned a coach. So the level of support is different. When you take the out-of-country certification route, you are pretty much on your own and you follow the procedures as TEA outlines for you, pass those exams, get that stuff done, and they certify you. When you come through the alternative certification route, you are actually assigned a field supervisor or a coach who supports you throughout the entire process. With regard to requirements, the processes are the same, but the level of support that you are given is what makes the difference between alternative certification and taking the out-of-country route. As an educator preparation program, we are required to provide a level of support that helps candidates navigate their way to standard certification. So thank you so much for that question.
And may I add, Dominic, that
Absolutely.
even throughout the year, we also offer test preparation sessions as well for certain subjects.
Yes, which is a huge support for especially bilingual certification seekers, because there are some exams that they are required to take that other certification areas are not required to take. For example, the BTLBT is documented as a difficult exam. Arturo, who's here with us this evening, is actually one of the persons who facilitates that test preparation session for the Compass program. And so our levels of support are very layered and they're very complex, and we try our very best as a program to support you through every single component that leads to your certification. And so, if you will, one of the things that we like to think about and say here at Compass is that you never feel like you're alone when you go through the program. Someone is literally holding your hand and by your side as you go through it. Do we have high expectations? Absolutely. Will you be required to perform at a level that is higher than some, if not most, of the novice teachers in the campus that you work? Absolutely. Do I often get emails about, well, the teacher next door to me does this or is in this program and this is required? And those types of comparisons are human nature. But here at Compass, we hold you to a high standard because we are preparing you to be successful in this career. And as we've stated, teaching is not easy. When you are evaluated at the district level, which teachers are evaluated, we want you to be successful. And so we put forth the effort that's necessary to support you and help you to certification, but also hold you to a high standard so that you can perform at a level that helps our students achieve academically. Well, I think at this point, let's see, bilingual English and Spanish. Yes, the question is about bilingual EC6 implies English and Spanish only. I am fluent in Romanian, Italian, and English. Would bilingual EC6 apply to me? Unfortunately, in Dallas ISD, the dual language program is English and Spanish. And so our campuses, because of our student population, as we mentioned in the presentation, our student population is 40% Spanish speaking students, and they are still learning English. And so our bilingual or dual languages program here in Dallas ISD does have an emphasis on English and Spanish. We have campuses that have different percentage models for those languages, but it is a focus on English and Spanish. Our dual languages department, or our, help me out, Arturo, world languages, thank you. The world languages department does ask for candidates often in different languages. Unfortunately, right now as a program, we are not positioned to train in those areas because the level of support that's needed for that foreign language, we just don't have the capacity to fulfill right now. However, there are other programs that do offer that. So thank you so much. That was an awesome question. Our focus to be able to meet the needs of our students is English and Spanish dual language, a dual language model of English and Spanish.
And the great thing about what we're offering, you can get certified in our bilingual EC for that Spanish and go back and take the test for any of those other languages. So you can teach at another capacity. So this is one of the many opportunities that we open up. You can go through our program, get that bilingual EC and learn the Spanish side and teach in English and Spanish, and then go back and take the test for any other language that you would like to teach as well. Thank you for that question. The next question was, how can I apply for a scholarship to the alternative certification program? The best way of doing that is applying to our program. Our scholarships are, once you get accepted, then we'll forward your information to the resources and the third parties that we use. So if you are looking for a scholarship, first just apply, submit your application, take the test, and then you will be forwarded over to get that scholarship information.
Thank you for that question.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna, two more questions, and then we're gonna go ahead and close out the info session. Thank you so much. This question says, can we know how much we would get paid for the 5 weeks, and how about the time off between pre-service and internship? Is that covered within the 5 weeks pay? That is a great question. Right now, I'm still collecting data to identify what is the most appropriate amount to pay candidates. But I assure you that if you are accepted, you will know once you receive your enrollment handbook, all of those details will be provided. I know it's difficult to make a decision without knowing exactly, but I've been notified that I'll have the data I need to be able to actually publish that information by the end of this week. And so it will be published on our website by the middle of next week. As soon as we have the actual data, we'll go ahead and put it out there. Thank you for that question. With regard to the time off between pre-service and, I lost the question.
Between pre-service and the internship.
Okay, so generally speaking, there's probably about a week of time off, because once you finish pre-service training, there's about a week of time where you are not required to go to any training, because then new teachers are always required to report earlier than any other teachers, because they have to complete New Teacher Academy and professional development on their individual campuses. So there's only about a week in between. The way the pay scale works is you would not be paid for any days that you don't work. However, because it is a salary advance, your first day of pay is going to be the date that you're recommended for hire by that principal. So once you get beyond this stage, and you guys are asking some very, very specific questions, which is great, but I want to be sure that we're putting the emphasis where it should be for the info session. The emphasis here is to go ahead and apply and be accepted into the program. All of these questions definitely will be answered through your onboarding, your orientation, and all of those things. So thank you very much.
For the last question, can I transfer to Compass? Yes. Our program, you are allowed to transfer in or out. And if you look at the email that we have given, alternative certification at Dallas ISD, if you would just send us an email with program transfer in the title, we will get you the right form so that you can transfer into our program. Or if you're, for some reason, it's not working out, you can send us that same email so that you can transfer out. Like I said, there are a lot of different opportunities out there. We feel that Compass is the best, but we want to make sure that we are transparent about being able to come in and out of our program. So with that, we want to thank you for all of your questions. Please follow us on Twitter or Facebook to stay up to date. We have additional information sessions coming up. We will post this Google chat on our website in the next few days in case you want to review it. And we look forward to seeing all of your applications soon. For Compass, we want to say thank you once again.
And it is 7 o'clock in Dallas, so wherever you are.
Thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate your participation, and we look forward to receiving your applications. Thank you.
Thank you.